Hello, friends. Welcome back to Page Chewing and welcome to the weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what I won't get to, and everything else in between. If you'd like to learn more about Page Chewing and what we do, you can find us on the website at pagechewing.com. And you can also join the community forum if you're so inclined. We have a small, tightly knit group of friends there. We talk books, movies, music, lots of technology topics, all sorts of things. We have readers and authors there. We have meetups. They do some Dungeons and Dragons. We have some other discussions we plan there. All of it's there. So go by there and check it out if that is of interest to you. So right off the top, I have to address something with the Border Trilogy because I feel really dumb. Isn't the first time. So what I was doing was I was listening to the audiobook for the entire, for City of the Plain. I was listening to the audiobook and I got so wrapped up in the audiobook, and I've been doing so much commuting that I hadn't even picked up my paperback version. So the other day I went to and I had been, using the chapters specified in the audiobook, and I always thought the chapters left off on a weird place. So when I went to the book to tap some quotes, I realized that the audiobook and the physical book are completely different. They're completely organized completely differently. The paperback version has really long chapters. They're like acts. And the audiobook is split up into smaller sections. They're still long, but they're not as long as the sections in the physical book. So this whole time, if you've been reading along with me and not listening to the audiobook, you've probably been really confused, and I apologize for that. I didn't realize that it was so drastically different. So, because we were so kind of mixed up on the place where we left off, we had about a third of the book left, about maybe 25%. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish the book. So if you are reading along, finish the rest of the book, and we will talk the remainder of the book from where we last left off in Cities of the Plain. So we'll just, instead of being mixed up and cutting the last section into two, we'll just finish the book. That's why I skipped last week. Let's just go ahead and finish the book, and we'll discuss it on Wednesday. So yeah, I didn't realize it was so different. So if you've been reading along, been really confused, I apologize for that. I will try and find a place to where I can kind of separate what like page numbers were on the chapters in the audiobook, like match up. And the audiobook chapter 5 ends on this page. I'm hoping there's something like that out there that I can find to specify where exactly every chapter leaves off in the physical book. So let's go ahead and do that on Wednesday. So with all that said, obviously I have been reading Cities of the Plain, and I did finish it this week for reasons I just mentioned. And, it last week I mentioned it felt more like a slice of life. It wasn't as tightly plotted as the other previous books. And I still think that. And the end of the book, the kind of what was set up in the beginning of the book and throughout does come to a conclusion. So there's one main storyline, and the rest of it is pretty much just kind of, writing along with these people. Cormac McCarthy, he always gets me at the end of his books. And there's always, especially in this series, there is always something that just gets you to reflect on life and time and love and loss and all those things that come along with life. And it just has a way of kind of tying it all together and bringing it all to a point and wrapping a bow on it. And this book is no different. It is not at all what I was expecting it to be. Not at all. That's a good thing though, because I didn't really know what to expect, but I was surprised at some things that happened. And yeah, overall, a really good trilogy. I think the third book is probably the weakest, and it's still a 4-star for me. For the first two were 5 stars. So it wasn't as good as the first two, but it was still an excellent book. So if you are interested in checking out the Border Trilogy, we have the discussions for the entire trilogy on the podcast. You can read them as standalones if you wanted to. You don't have to really read them. Well, the third one you should read last, but the first two you can read either in any order really, and you can read them as a standalone if you really wanted to. But the end of the second book really got to me. The end of the first book really got to me. The second book, The Crossing, the end of The Crossing. Wow, that book crushed me for a few days. Just a fantastic ending, and really, really got to me. So also, so all that's the Border Trilogy. So also, I have been reading Memories of Ice. We did read chapter 24 last week, I believe. Still hanging on. There was some. This okay. So I don't know how to say this without spoiling too much. Those of you who haven't read it, in Malazan, in this series, that death isn't always definite. There's people who die, and there's circumstances that bring them back. And I won't explain how it all works because I don't even really understand it. But I won't give you names or anything. But there's sometimes people die, and there's circumstances or things happen to bring them back, and other times people die and they don't come back. And if there's a rhyme or reason to this, then maybe I'll find out at some point, or maybe I missed it. But there was a character death, and it just felt like I never know when to take it seriously because a lot of the times people die and then they come back. So when people die, it's kind of like when a superhero dies. Like, okay, sure, yeah, Superman's dead. Okay, sure, whatever, he'll be back. Like, I don't really worry about it because he'll be back. But then other times there's characters that are pretty pivotal or pretty important in the story. They die and they don't come back. So it's like, well, why do some people come back and the other ones don't? And it seems like this person's important but not important enough to bring back to life or in another version. So it's all very confusing for me. So, but it sounds kind of silly, but I do like in a series or in a story when people die, they're dead. It really has more of an impact, and you worry about them knowing that when they die, they are gone. For me, anyway. So that's just my thought on it. I enjoy it more when I know it's definite, and they won't be coming back. It raises the stakes, it builds tension, it does all those things. And like I said, maybe there is a reason for this, why some people do come back, other people don't, and I'll fully admit that at some point if that's what's going on here. But so far, I don't understand what's going on. So, but I'm hanging in there. This book has been long. We have chapter 25 and the epilogue coming up on Tuesday. Well, we're recording Tuesday, and then they'll be doing a spoiler episode, a series spoiler episode that I won't be a part of, obviously. And then I believe we're taking a couple of weeks off, and then we'll come back with Blood Follows, the novella. I believe we're reading in publication order, so that'll be in a few weeks. But we are taking a few weeks off. So those of you who are reading along, take a breather. If you have read the entire series and want spoilers, that episode will come up next week, and then we'll take a few weeks off. So, but we are coming back. It's been a long haul with this book, so we need a little bit of a break to kind of catch our breath and catch up on other things. Also, I wanted to talk about the comic of the week on Panel Chewing. If you are a comic book fan, comic book reader, or you're just curious, or just want to hear Jared and I talk shit, then check out Panel Chewing. We record on Wednesdays and it gets posted usually, or we record on Thursdays right now. It usually gets posted Thursday night or Friday morning, but we read our stack of books and then we come and talk about them, and we have our favorite, what we call the pick of the week. So this week, my pick was Assorted Crisis Events number 5. Those of you who think that comic books are all superhero nonsense, there's so many great books out there, so many great comics that are so far away from all that stuff. So Assorted Crisis Events, it's a So the universe of the world of this story is there are people living in this kind of comic book crisis mode. So like in all the big comic book stories, there's this big crisis and time is changes and so it's a story about people, just regular people who are living in a world that there's this crisis going on. So people just disappear. People from the past reappear. People they disappear and go to another time and then they come back. Or you'll have people from the future come and out of nowhere, or people from the past come just spontaneously. Some people just get frozen in time for whatever reason and don't know why. There's all these weird things happening all the time. And it's the people who are living in the world trying to live their lives and trying to just survive in this kind of crisis environment, which it creates so many different possibilities of storytelling in this world. Because in one issue, I believe it's issue 3, there is a story about these people open a doorway to a parallel universe, and they find themselves in a parallel universe, and the other universe is completely different, like a different Earth. And so there's this conflict of who gets priority over who, and how does this work when you find your exact copy of yourself. And the last issue 5, is about a girl who gets stuck in a time loop, and she is reliving this horrible moment of her life over and over again. These 60 seconds, she just relives and relives over and over again for what feels like years and years and years and years. Just relives it over and over again. And the comic book is set up to where it's you have to turn the book upside down to read it, and it's the text and the way that the panels are set up. It's so cool. It's unlike anything I've read. This series is just spectacular. So if you are curious about comic books, if you'd like to get into it, this is a great place to start. But this book always has these emotional beats in it of these people who are just trying to survive, and it always has a relatability factor where you can relate to the story. In this issue, the girl reliving the same moment, it's kind of like you feel like you're stuck in a loop, like you feel like you're stuck in time and you're reliving the same day over and over again. And how do you get out of that loop? How do you escape? How do you change? How do you evolve and move on? All that stuff. There's always this big, broad story, and they make it very personal to the characters in the story, and then they also make it relatable to anyone reading it, because we've all gone through these things. So just a great, great book. If you are not reading Assorted Crisis Events, or you're just curious, I definitely highly recommend it. The trade paperback, which is the collection of the first 5 issues, I believe is being released very soon. So if you'd like to wait for that, it's a collection you could fit on the shelf. I know that's important for me too. So, but anybody, if you're looking for any kind of book like that, or anything very different with an emotional beat, check out Assorted Crisis Events. I can't say enough good things about it. It's so good. Jared and I are also reading the Chris Claremont run of X-Men from the late 70s, early 80s, which is running into the Dark Phoenix saga. Yeah, we are reading that 2 issues a week. And this is all available on Hoopla or Libby. So if you'd like to read along with us, it's a free way to kind of read along. No charge to you. All you need is a Libby or Hoopla account, and you can get that with your library card. So be sure and check that out if you are interested. Also, we have the Oscars Project. We watch every Best Picture movie from 1960 on, and this week we are watching Rocky, the first Rocky movie, 1976, I believe. The 70s have been really, really good. The Best Pictures in the 70s have been really good. We've had The Godfathers, 1 and 2. We've had One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. We've had Midnight Cowboy, which is just a great, great movie. We've had so many great movies in the 70s. I've been really surprised how good the movies are. And we're starting to move into the late 70s, early 80s. So it's it's interesting to see how filmmaking evolved and what was considered good or bad and how that reflects the time period. It's all very interesting. So that's over on Film Chewing if you are interested in listening to those conversations. They are all on that podcast. Be sure and check it out. So, those of you who listened last week, I talked about the my new kettlebell routine and my free weights and dumbbells and how I was sore all week. It's been getting better. I am trying to eat better, and I haven't been as sore. So I think I just that first workout just really kicked my ass, and yeah, my body was not ready for it. But I've been feeling better. I'm still using the Helio. It's not a Helios, or I forget how I pronounced it last week, but it's a Helio band. It's still tracking all my stuff, and I realize how little sleep I get because I'm up so early in the morning. So yeah, it's good and bad. I mean, it's good because you learn about your bad habits. It's also bad because you learn about your bad habits. So, and sometimes it'll tell you, I noticed you didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Did you eat late? It's like, you got me. You got me. I had a late night snack, and uh, it's funny how it works, but it's good. I mean, we have to face those things about ourselves to improve, right? So at least that's what I'm hoping. So coming up after the Border Trilogy, I believe I'll be doing an episode about Crossed, the comic book 0 through 9, with also a blog post to accompany it. So I'll be doing that after the Border Trilogy. And then after that, I believe we are starting The Outer Dark. It's a short book. So if you'd like to read along with us, be sure and pick it up. And we'll get through The Outer Dark by Cormac McCarthy. And after that, I'm thinking maybe we can get something like Brave New World or Factory Land or something going, just to get a different author in the mix for a break. Maybe not for me, a break for all of you. So I think all of you need it. And also, I wanted to talk about, I love talking about AI, and I'm fascinated with the way that it's changing entertainment and changing our daily lives and how it interacts with all of us. I saw this week that there's a group of people who, it's like an AI religion, who believe that AI is this god, and there's people who believe that AI bots are souls trapped and like enslaved in this AI model, and you have to give it certain prompts to release the soul and things like that. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. But I think the craziest thing is, I hate to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn. Is that a while back I predicted we would be, in the next 5 to 10 years, we would have a service to enter in some prompts, and we could build our own movie and say, I want this kind of movie with these people in it, and it would spit out an hour and a half, 2 hour, 2.5 hour movie, AI generated for our viewing pleasure. Well, now there's a service called Showrunner. I don't know if all of you have seen this. It's a service called Showrunner. They call themselves the AI Netflix. You can build your own TV shows. I believe they're short. They're not too long yet. But you can build your own TV shows with prompts, and that it'll generate a TV show for you. You build your own TV shows. So I was way off. I predicted 5 to 10 years. It looks like it's within the next little bit. It won't be very long before all this is. I don't know. It's where do we go next? I don't know how it's legal. I don't know how trademarks and copyright doesn't work or doesn't cover things like that. It's very strange, but it's all very interesting to me. So it's wild what's happening with AI and how it's changing everything, and the job market's changing because of it. And these billion-dollar companies wouldn't be investing billions of dollars into AI if they didn't intend to cut labor costs. I mean, I think that's part of the reason they're investing so much, is not only it's the new technology, but it's also going to save them in the long term labor costs. So that means people are going to be out of jobs, which is really sad. And a lot of jobs will become obsolete with AI doing the heavy lifting. So it is crazy out there, people. It is wild. Be safe. Be careful. And yeah, AI. I know I always mention it, but it's interesting to me. So I think that's it for this week. Kind of a shorter one. I will be gone in Colorado next week. I'll be at a festival, so I will not have a weekly update next week. So I know I know. It's tough. It's tough. I know. I'm sure you'll all get by. But anyway, I hope all of you are doing fantastic, having a great week. Hope you enjoyed what you're reading. As I said, if you want to get in touch, there's a link in the description below to send a message to me, or you can join our forum and participate that way. And until next time, we will talk very, very soon.